I haven't made one of these videos in a while. I'm trying to think where I'm at now. I realize it's about resolution with family. My family is used as a template. Trump's family is used as a template to show two, varying approaches to trying to make the world a better place. In his mind, he's trying to make the world a better place. In my mind, I'm trying to make the world a better place. But I'm starting with my family and seeing how I fit in a perfect world relative to the history I have with my mother, my father, and my brother, which is sketched out in a few places. Chapter 12 of Revelation describes the period where my parents got divorced. When I died, my brother's testimony is written in a book by my mother, who is a PhD researching the links between spirituality and physical health. My father is a geologist who has and an atheist who has a theory about the location of the Ark of the Covenant. He thinks it's under this thing called the heel stone. My name, just reporting it, means to seize the heel with thought, by thinking, which is exactly what I'm doing. And my brother had a similar story. He began a similar journey that checked off boxes of New York, New Orleans, travel, the south of France, the Italian Riviera, just like I did in my story too. Because one supreme being has a story to tell, to reintroduce, to teach us lessons just by merely reporting the story and seeing the events that happen, that put together a group of the most efficient group to get a international concert together, both from booking the artists, to recruiting artists, to a way to report updates, a news outlet to report updates with a trusted reporter, composers and educators, humanitarians, all wrapped in to one group. Anyway, so that's part of it. Thinking about the 12th Imam, which the concept in Islam is right way to say it is. It's generally accepted tenet of Islam. There's only one, or by chance there's one Muslim in the world that I would trust with my life, and he's someone I've known since I was, 12 or 13. We used to play chess together and listen to Tom Petty. Anyway, so I know him. And I guess really just kind of thinking about the event of pixelation, the aftermath, connecting my dad's arc theory, thinking about my mother's book, thinking about her connection to Duke University's Department of Spirituality and Physical Health, and her recent workshop she attended there for a week with people from, graduate degree holding people from all walks or from throughout, I think the world actually. I think they had a princess there, hearing stories about, there's a difference between a mystical experience and a mentally ill experience, but how do you standardize it talking about, when you report your findings, don't use dogma, use the facts, etc. But, of course, introducing the connection between physical health and spirituality, because there is one, because God exists. God, being that one being, has a taste and wants a story told. And unless you can hold a court while that story is reported, in order to report that story, just events that happen around you, while you check off certain boxes like New York City, New Orleans influence, south of France. It's got to be a Jewish girl involved. He had all of those during his story. Most of them are reported within the book that my mother wrote. That showing the difference between hot and cold. I represent someone, or my brother and I represent people who were hot in our, journey, God-related journeys. And our father represents someone who was cold, an atheist. And actually both of our journeys started because of fallouts with him. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then the Trump thing. Trump, Kushner represent, a sort of man-made team, duo, operating in the best way that they believe they're operating, making the best choices, as is everyone. And to see how that attempt at a Mideast peace deal fails because it's not anointed. Thinking about Donald Trump saying, "I am the chosen one," in jest, and how that statement, those 6 words that he spoke on the White House lawn in August of 2019, as he looked at the sky, echo the Garden of Eden, when the thought was, well, we can eat from the tree of life, no one's going to notice. I can say I'm the chosen one as a joke, and no one's there. I won't suffer any consequence. There won't be any consequence to it. And what the consequence is my story. And it's a great story that shows an understanding of everyone's view, because that same serpent, which was involved with President Trump's statement, was also involved when my father began his journey that he documented via court records, sending letters to people because it was pre-internet. He began that process the year the internet was invented, 1983, on January 1st. Technically it was invented because the DNS code, or whatever they call it, that system was fired up. Anyway, by recording his story, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, my brother's stories documented via my mom's book. My dad, sent out all that stuff, posts things on the internet sometimes, whatever. As an atheist. Also thinking about how his atheism, that iniquity, because it breaks a commandment, that iniquity was delivered to both my brother and me in response to his atheism. So we both took our journeys to the south of France, and Italian Riviera, New York, New Orleans. And someone else is going to do the same thing, and it's going to keep stumbling out. People are going to keep stumbling out because, or unless someone gets this job done. And what the job is to record your journey, figuring all that out, and yourself, finding your perfect spot via having a mystical event happen to you, whose peak intensity lasts 20 seconds. Afterward, your story, whatever journey you've gone on, has been anointed as well. And then send me the footage of it. And all I have is a screening process to make sure your story is legit. We can share it with the world so we can all learn about God. And when I say that, we know a lot about God. But as technology and time passes, we need updates. And our last update synced with technology and society 2,000 years ago, primitive as it was. And the previous update was in 1300 BC. And now this is the beginning of the final series of updates. And the updates are submitted and gathered by people like you. See that? We just have different stories involved, or different updates involved, with my mother, my father, my brother, and also, Donald Trump, Jared Kushner. Oh yeah, and Donald Trump's wife, Melania. Anyway, and that serpent was also involved with my mom, whose name actually means, it's old German for serpent. Serpent thinking. My dad's is spear thinking, if you translate their names. Mine is a new thinking, or to think anew. Because I'm the guy who has an experiment based off my mystical experience and everything that I encountered over this period since January 20th of 2017. Anyway, took all that information plus my mystical experience to say, as an experiment, I believe it. You can look at it as an experiment, as what happens when you, it would be like if you said to yourself, I'm going to play a game, that God is monitoring every thought in my mind, everything that I have. He's reading them. And knowing that, I admit everything I've done wrong, continue to update anytime I break one of his 10 commandments, and test out the effects of that as I explore our existing society to create a safety net for people who want to do the same thing. And then just truthfully report what happens, and also record it like I am now, to say this happened today. Let's see what else. Serpent thinking is, like I said, my mom, and say there was a dragon that tormented the woman as soon as he was going to devour the child as soon as he was born. I was a child. Then that child was caught up to God. I died. And that piece of information, when I encountered it, in a conversation with a woman that I am in love with, was one piece of information that helped me say, now God exists, and begin or further continue my journey without even knowing it. Until I decided to make a movie for that woman on September 23rd, 2017, the day of the once in history alignment of stars over Jerusalem that are a perfect match to chapter 12 of Revelation, which contains the woman, her children, the kid caught up to God, as well as a battle with Michael and the angels. Remember how my dad, his name means spear thinking? Well, every time you see a picture, someone's picture, like interpretation, an artist or whatever, of Michael, he'll have a sword or a spear. And my dad happens to be the guy, as an atheist, who has a geological theory about the location of the Ark of the Covenant, which is under a stone called the heel stone. And my name means to seize that heel. To seize the heel. I will seize that heel. That's my function on earth. And I wouldn't know that unless I spent time unlocking my relationship and my history with myself, my mother, my brother, and my father. And doing so completely because I believe in God. And I happen to find myself on a journey that began with a woman that I recorded like I'm doing now. So you can see how I went from where I was until the book is published. So yes, that's what I got. See you guys.